डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Hello friends, Namaskar. I, Dr. Bhavna Trivedi, an assistant professor of English, welcome you all to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University video lecture series. Today, in this session, we are going to discuss one topic of translation studies. That is a paper of, MA paper 105, Translation Studies, unit number 2, Importance and Relevance of Translation. As you know, language might have been invented as a necessity when people, might have tried to convey their thoughts through certain medium. Like language, translation is also might have been a kind of necessity when certain, group of people might have, interacted with another group of people who had got different language, right? So it is in that case as old as human civilization, right? It is the principal means through which we can, explore the world. We can, get to know about the world, right? The world, if we see, is nothing but a, growing heap of text, right? Each one differs from the previous one. And if the same thing I, put in the words of Octavio Paz, right? Mexican poet, who says that each text is a translation of the another text, right? No text can be original in that sense, because language itself is a translation of certain mode of communication, certain medium, you can say course of communication, right? So language itself in its very essence is a translation. So in that case, the study of translation, when we take, translation studies as a separate academic discipline, we should know this particular foreground, that translation is as, old as language, and it is a medium to explore the world, right? If we define the translation, we can say it is a kind of a rendering of one language into another language, right? Language which is being rendered is called source language or source text, and the outcome, the translated text, is target language or target text. Say for example, Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography, Satyana Prayogo, right? It is written in Gujarati, and the translation of that particular autobiography was done by Mahadev Bhai Desai, My Experiments with Truth. So Satyana Prayogo is SL and My Experiments with Truth is target language. In that case, recently also you have Booker Prize winner, right, Heart Lamp, that is a translation of Kannada collected stories, right, of Banu Mustak, and the translation was done by Deepa Paste. So that particular Heart Lamp is a target language, in that case target text, right, and Kannada collection is original SL. So while translating, a translator should ensure that, right, the surface meaning of both the text should remain similar. Right, while translating a text, it is very important to understand, the syntax of SL. Right, one should try to maintain the syntax of SL while translating. But at a time, it is also very important to check the meaning, the substance of the target language. So the substance of the target language should not be distorted while maintaining the syntax of, we can say, of source language. So in case of translation studies, it is very important, right? Translation studies aims at checking how a translator, gets the meaning, gets the substance of the SL while, deriving that particular thing, while taking the substance, how nicely the syntax, how nicely the SL, maintains its syntax, or how nicely, syntactically SL is maintained, right? Now, if we check the importance of translation studies, we can say in this age, what we have today, this age of ICT, right? Major translated works have been very crucial. Or we can say the age of ICT, information and communication technology, actually, right, is the outcome or has got, foreground, right, of translated works. We can have Newton's law of gravitation, Darwin's origin of species, or Freud's psychoanalysis, or that dialectical Marxism of theory of Marx, right? All such a gigantic works found in translation actually have changed the world. And today, right, this age of information is actually thriving upon that particular text, right? So what Marx has contributed in the social development, and that psychoanalysis of Freud has laid foundation to the study of human mind, we can say. Right now, it is very important to understand the difference between translation studies and that particular translation theories. But before that, let us see how translation has contributed in the spread of religion. We cannot deny the importance of translation in spread of religion, right? Because whatever the propagation occurred at so and so period by certain followers of so and so religion actually could be possible only through translation. Say for example, Buddhism, right? During that particular phase of King Ashoka, right, the third Maurya king, the Buddhism translated in transfer, traveled from India to Afghanistan, and from Afghanistan to Egypt, Syria, Persia, and over there in Macedonia, in West and in South Sri Lanka. And thus, not only the religious text, but along with all the religious, text, so many texts of medicine, poetics, arts, and other texts also traveled, right? So in this way, translation has contributed a lot in spread of religion. Same is case with Christianity also, right? Christian missionaries, when they came in India, right, they actually translated their religious holy books into so many Indian languages, and there occurred a vast, you can say, propagation of Christianity, right? Now, it is, as I mentioned, one should understand the difference between translation studies as well as translation theories. Translation studies actually refers the academic study of skills which a translator, requires, and kind of theories a translator needs to follow, right? And it also refers, translation studies is all about how translation actually intersects with different cultures and different languages. It is all about what needs to be considered to translate effectively and ethically, right? As language is inseparable to any culture. So as a translator, one needs to go deep in that, dwell deep into that study of culture. And when you come across that study of when you refer to translation studies, it is very important to intersect with so and so culture in which the book has got this particular culture as background. Translation studies refers to how to read a text, how to interpret text, how to analyze, and how to translate that particular thing, taking all different aspects of language, right? Translation study is all about learning history and philosophy of translation and its development from time to time, from origin to different phases translations has faced, right? Taking culture and history. On the other hand, translation theory is all about the correct principles of translation. Translation theories actually hold different languages, and how the languages, get jammed in certain forms based on a foundation of understanding how languages are dealt, taking particular translation. It is all about guiding translators to find intent ways of transferring meaning using the most appropriate forms of language. In short, the theory refers to systematic rules in that case when a translator pursues a kind of specific book to translate, taking how nicely the book has got reflected the culture, the history, the time period, all such things which are reflected in the text must be studied before translating. We have two types of theories. First one expresses the meaning of each and every word and phrase, taking, we can say, literal translation, right? And other one conveys the context of the text, right? So both the theories refer that denotative and connotative reference, translation, word to word translation, and translation in that context, contextual translation. If we see the importance of translation in today's world, you must be knowing, right? Today we are living in this age of information and technology, right? So wide range of transferable skills, right? One needs to sharpen today, and these particular skills, right, definitely can help you with many fields, right? Translation studies actually, right, in that case also teach strong analytical and communication skill. One needs to be very powerful, taking language, syntactics, semantics and pragmatics, using this particular, if you want to use translation as a profession or as a tool, then one needs to sharpen all such fields, right? Because it is in this globalized and multilingual world, right, it is very important for you to be multilingual. Translation can also be used in conjunction with many other academic disciplines, such as linguistics, computer science, gender studies, culture studies, histories, right? So almost so many humanities can be clubbed at a time, right, with translation studies. In this age of ICT, dissemination of knowledge, right, is very important. Knowledge is of prime importance, and you must be knowing every day, world is being updated. Each and every field of studies, we can say, whether it is pure science or is applied science, we find a lot of changes. We need to update ourselves at a time, right? So whatever new discovery is there, right, obviously theories of such discoveries, right, are translated into major languages. So new discoveries can easily reach to each and every corner of the world. So whatever new things can be available through translation. For academic purposes also, translations made available into many other languages. In this world of globalization, right, a world has been very shrunk, you must be knowing, and connections are made, right? So we have become like a small village. So to make our connections stronger, right, to connect with almost all fields of life, whether it is business, education, travel, right, news, politics, almost science, medicine, health, right, entertainment, so education. So these are different, relevant, you can say, eclectic fields. And to connect with all such fields, one needs, right, to get updated, and for that translation helps a lot, right? Say so many things, we can relate over here, taking the importance of translation, right? But before we conclude, I would like to put, what Sri Aurobindo has described taking translation. Aurobindo has given, three important terms. He says Nama, Rupa and Swarupa. Right? These particular three words he has explained. Aurobindo says translation is not a linear process. One has to constantly shift from Nama, Rupa and Swarupa. Nama means, right, a physical or material level of written words. Right, that is what we can say denotative meaning. Right, Rupa represents the mental level. While uttering a single word, whatever mental image that you find in your mind, right, that is a rupa, right, that we have already discussed in that particular theory of structuralism, right, while discussing sign and signifier and signified, right? So rupa represents that mental image of so and so word, and swarupa is the super conscious level of image of truth, which is sought to be expressed by the translator, right? So swarupa is the highest level, or we can say soul of translation, right? So this is all for today. In the next session we'll discuss importance, few another fields of translation, where translation studies we can say is very important, and the relevance of translation. Thank you.
स्वाध्यायः